10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
Hello and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Wack. Today is May 10th and we've got an episode worth of 2 days worth of episode today. So some of the news might be a little bit old now, but here we go. So the first thing is that we have officially announced Gitcoin as an oDAO member now. For those of you who watch Rocket Fuel and have been watching it for the last few months, you'll know that this has been on the cards for a while now. You know, they got accepted quite a while ago. We've been talking about it on Rocket Fuel a bunch of times, but now there's a tweet here from Gitcoin saying big news. Gitcoin has partnered with Rocket Pool to participate as a node operator and join the membership of the Oracle DAO. This can broaden our participation in securing the Ethereum network and helping to further fund public goods. So I love Gitcoin. They're really cool. They do amazing work, and it's really great to have them as part of the oDAO. Here, you know, they've got information about what Rocket Pool is. It says Rocket Pool is Ethereum's most decentralized liquid staking protocol. It has 2,500 worldwide node operators. And then it says the partnering with Rocket Pool has a 3-way benefit for Gitcoin. It gets rewards for its staked ETH. It gets commission on pool staked ETH. And it gets RPL rewards. And then there's a link with more information there. And then it says finding recurring and sustainable funding models for funding public goods is high on Gitcoin's priority list. At the same time, growing and continue to be good stewards and partners to other protocols in the space has long been Gitcoin's ethos. And it says join us later in the conversation today where Kyle from Gitcoin will be chatting with the Rocket Pool team, and set your reminders here. And then there's a link to a Twitter space. So that is a really good time for us to transition. Actually, we'll come back to that in a second. So here we had a post then from Mav saying the Atlas hype may have settled down a bit, but while the bi-weekly is a little shorter this time around, the rETH growth has been nothing short of spectacular at just shy of 20% in only 14 days. Read all about it on the Medium and then join us for the community call. So we're kind of like building up to the community call. So let's have a look at this bi-weekly update. So he is published by Mav 1 day ago. rETH growth 19.6% to 299,083. Annualized growth of 511%. I really like that annualized growth number here. I really think that that's what we should be aiming for. And then active mini pool count has gone up 10.5%. Node operator count has grown 5% to 2,563, which is really awesome. And then mini pool queue has declined to 2% to 62,496. So this is a new stat now that is being covered compared to the previous stat of the effective RPL number, because that number just fluctuated a lot, like weirdly, depending on the ratio. So, you know, it wasn't really that good an indicator of that information, whereas now we have this like the mini pool queue, which gives us good information as well. So and then smart node, Joe enjoyed a well-earned holiday. R&D, there's information published to stakers about their fee recipient that we covered. This is a really nice thing that we're going to be talking about a little bit. Work has completed to facilitate ledger integration. That's a nice, really nice piece of bread there that can definitely help us get to that 511% rETH growth. Well, not in itself, of course, but yeah. And then content continues to be loaded onto the new website, workshops on future protocol updates and roadmap. So this is something that we're going to be talking about as well. And then there's integration. There's Gravita is announcing their launch. Their launch date is not out yet, but they'll be supporting rETH on launch. Flashstake are going to be giving boosts for rETH. And then we have Blockscape announced NFT-based mini pool service that we've talked about, and I'm going to be talking about a bit more today. There's Swiss staking, there's Twister Finance, Alchemix, and Octo LSD. Governance, there's 2 votes live. Let me actually have a quick look to see if they have reached quorum yet, because we haven't covered those in a few days. Yes, so one of them has reached quorum at 93%, 94% in favor, and 6% abstaining. And then let me see who abstained. Ken abstained, who's a big vote there, and then Barlin.eth abstained also. So we had a couple of abstentions, I think that's the right word. And then also the second vote as well about expanding the IMC charter to include cover RPL in there has also reached quorum, and that is at 99.14% positive. So those have reached quorum, which is really great. I think there's a way to mint POAP. The POAP's not ready yet. So make sure that after you finish the votes, you go and get the POAPs for voting. So those are done. And this is the April grants boundary retrospectives were awarded. So you can have a look at the information there. We're going to be talking about that a little bit more too. This is a coordination effort started to document outreach to large DAOs and entities about liquid staking and their treasuries with Rocket Pool. And then there's a whole lot of media coverage. So it says recent Twitter coverage of Rocket Pool and Atlas includes 1KX, Luganodes, Masari, Fidelity, Blockpaw, Bankless, Blockworks, Poopman, and OKX Ventures. Media coverage includes pieces from Cointelegraph, Crypto News, The Crypto News, Decrypt, Coindesk, Cointelegraph, Define, and Forbes. And then Chainlink mentioned Rocket Pool in a recent blog post. Gnosis DAO proposal to stake assets via rETH. And then there's some listings here on Gyotos, Sideshift, CoinPark, and as always it says do your own research on any of these exchanges. And then the community call had Adam Bloomberg from PlanetDAO and Paul Lansky from DAppNode, and then there's information about Rocket Pool. So it wasn't quite as long as last time, but there's really good information here, and this headline was like amazing, really wonderful to see. So congrats on everyone on this really successful bi-weekly. So of course, as you get the bi-weekly, then you go into the community call. Today's this week's community call featured Gitcoin. Jasper was kind enough to give me a summary of the community call. He says the first part of the call was with Kyle, who's the executive director of Gitcoin and owner of the oDAO node. And he says we mainly talked about the philosophy of public goods funding, quadratic funding, and DAO relationships. I asked him what principles come to mind when he thinks about Gitcoin's role as an oDAO member, and he mentioned wanting Rocket Pool to be around in perpetuity and to support / be a part of a community of DAOs with Langers. And then they talked about the community, the bi-weekly. It says with Langers we started with stats, we quickly moved to the ledger integration. So it says it's nearly complete and Ledger has to review it on their end before implementation. It should include every feature the website has. The rough ETA is a few weeks. Update on the roadmap. The team has been doing workshops to figure out how to approach it with feedback from the community. A post should go up this week detailing it. Likewise, the oDAO stuff is going very well, with the first draft of the oDAO constitution now complete and being distributed to members for review. So thank you, Jasper, for giving that really cool update about the community call. There are a couple of things that I want to pick up on. One is that, the Ledger integration that has been mentioned a couple of times. So for those of you who use Ledgers, which is, a whole bunch of people use the Ledger as their hardware wallet, Ledger Live has apps built into it, and it kind of like encourages you to use certain pieces of software. When you get the option to stake your ETH through Ledger, at the moment it gives you Lido as an option. Soon it will give you Lido and Rocket Pool as an option. There's an idea that that could potentially drive tens of thousands of ETH towards staking with Rocket Pool, and I think I don't want to hype it too much, but I think tens of thousands is a conservative number, where in the actual number might end up being a bit higher than that, even maybe into the high tens of thousands, if not higher. So that is something that is very exciting. Next here as well, the website, we talked about the website recently, that it's coming along, and it seems like it's getting to the point where it can be shown to the community, and that is something I'm really excited about seeing. And I know that there's been a lot of work that's gone into the website, so I really hope that people are at least constructive in their criticisms, if there are any criticisms, or if, of course there will be criticisms, right? But I really feel like we should be constructive about it and not just mocking it or whatever, if that's the situation, which I don't think it will be. I think it's going to be a really beautiful website, and I'm really excited to see what the team come up with. So that's really cool. And next over here we see that there's the first draft of the oDAO constitution is complete. So that is something that is also something the community really wants to see. And again, like this, is the first draft. When it comes time to the community to have a look at it, I really think that we should talk about it in a very collegiate way and realize that we're all trying to work towards things together instead of just being like someone who tears things down. So these are all things that I'm really, really excited about, and that was really, really packed full of good information community call. So thanks to everyone who's involved with that. Okay, next we have something that I personally am extremely excited about. So here Kane, who of course is on the Rocket Pool team, he says he links to a GitHub that is add EIP execution layer triggerable exits. So Kane says this EIP paves the way to even higher capital efficiency in decentralized staking pools through lower bond requirements. Now, that is something that I find fascinating because I'm all about those lower bond requirements. Now, if we have a look at what this is, it is made by Dr. Junior 2, I think. Is that right? Or is it? No, DJ R2. So if you have a look within here, I think there's a file with information or readme. I'm not very good at navigating around GitHub, sadly, but a whole lot of people were like kind of commenting here about how this is massive for liquid staking and others. So basically what this is if you are part of a service and if you're running a node for a service, and if you do something bad, then that service will be able to kick you off instead of you having to wait for the service, instead of you being able to like just stay there and the service not being able to do anything. So for example, with Rocket Pool, there's a whole bunch of node operators who have basically been offline for months, and for them, you could just kick them off, right? Like, because they're dragging down the efficiency of all the Rocket Pool network. Or in the much better example, of course, is if someone tries to steal MEV, then you can kick them off, right? And at the moment there's no way to kick them off. They can stay there forever. However, with triggerable exits, execution layer triggerable exits, then there could be people or committee or whatever who can get them kicked off, which is absolutely amazing. So that's why Kane is so excited about this, and he says that this will help the way to lower bond requirements. That basically research showed that LEB4s would not be possible pretty much without these forced exits on the execution layer. And there are other things that we'll still have to consider, like Val wrote about in his paper, but this would definitely be a big step towards getting LEB4s. So everyone's really excited. So I was like, LEB4s, everyone get your LEB4s. And Jasper says, did he just say LEB4s? I think he just said LEB4s. Really though, this would be huge for the LST protocol safety. Rocket Pool would be able to scale to millions of ETH while simultaneously bringing in potentially millions who only have 4 ETH staking at home, which is super amazing. And that's something that I'm so happy about. Let me just give that a retweet. Yeah, so with LEB8s, we improved our capital efficiency by 3 times. With LEB4s, we'll be able to improve our capital efficiency by 7 times. And eventually LEB2s will be able to increase our capital efficiency by 15 times compared to what we had before. So, I like giving this example on Rocket Fuel of how we could scale without adding a single new node operator. Well, with going from mini-pool 16s to LEB8s, we were able to 3 times our rETH supply, right? Going from 200,000, I think it was, to a potential 600,000 without adding a single new node operator, provided all of them switched from mini-pool 16s to LEB8s. While with LEB4s, we would be able to go 7 times that. So we'd be able to go, like Jasper says, into the millions without adding a single new node operator. So that is the kind of thing that I find like incredibly exciting, and I really think that there's going to be good stuff that is coming from here in the next while. The problem with this EIP is that I'm not sure when it will be included on the Ethereum main chain. There might be, I don't think there might be a chance it could be included in the next update, which is Cancun, but it seems like it might be coming in the update after that, which might be in about a year or something like that, if they, that 6-month cadence. But this is going to be really exciting, and if we can get this, it would be amazing. So it seems like a whole bunch of like really like well-known people are kind of like commenting on this and trying to make it happen. I really hope that it can happen. Okay, so now let's get to some stats here. So the deposit pool, of course, is empty. It has 8 ETH balance in there, space for 18,000 ETH pretty much. As you can see, the deposits have still been pouring in. They're coming in really, really nicely. If you have a look at the daily chart, we're still hitting over 1,000 every day. Like on the 8th, we had 1,700. On the 9th, we had 1,800. Today, so far, we are at 2,086, which is lovely to see. On the weekly charts, we're hitting 8,000 so far this week, with 4 days to go still. On the monthly chart right now, May is already the second biggest month ever, and we're only on day 10, so we're on track for hitting 90,000 ETH in May. It might slow down a little bit by that, but I'm fairly sure that May will be the biggest month that Rocket Pool has had in terms of rETH minting, which would be really amazing. So one of the things that I wanted to highlight to you all is on this Rocket Scan website, it has this chart that shows you the rETH total ETH deposited, and it peaks at around 351,000 right there, right? 351,000. So that's a really nice milestone that is hit 351,000. You can just about see it on the screen. However, that's not the amount of rETH we have in circulation, and the reason for that is because of rETH has been minted. So the total supply now is 302,085, and some of the one above was burned. So this chart here on the rETH tab should be where you can like have a look to see how the rETH growth has happened. So as you can see, before the Atlas upgrade, we had 217,000 rETH, and now we are up to 302,000. So we've had a nearly growth of 100,000 rETH since the protocol changed, and that was on just over a month ago, on April 4th. On April 4th. So that's really, really amazing to see. And of course, as we're getting all these deposits coming through, the queue is clearing now. So here you can see that we currently have 2,016 mini pools that are waiting in the queue. So for this, we need 62,500 ETH. A few days ago, that hit 95,000, I think. So hey, this is really cool. Bossy is about to get added to the thing. Right now, the people who are getting added, they joined the queue 15 days ago, so they've been out of the queue for 2 weeks. Sadly, the people who are currently in there, if we're taking like 2,000 ETH a day coming into the pool, into the deposit pool, it might take like a month for the people who are in the queue now to get through. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but they might have to wait a while. And it says that we've got enough space now for 80,000 ETH to be 80,500 ETH to be deposited. So that's down from like 95 or 96,000, I think it was. I can't see that number going above 100,000 in the foreseeable future, unless one of the big whales decides to switch now, which I don't think they will, because there's stuff happening that will clear the queue, I think, with like that I'll be talking about later as well, including the ledger integration. Okay, so one of the things that I wanted to talk about here was let me see. Yeah, one of the things I forgot to include a link of is the smoothing pool here as well is now at 486 ETH. It's just got just over 12 hours to go. I think 13 hours to go now, 14 hours to go. So that will be hitting hopefully 500 ETH. It's touch and go whether it hits 500 ETH, but this is by far the biggest smoothing pool period that we've had so far overall. Of course, this number will be divided by a bigger number of node operators, so I'm not sure if it's the biggest in terms of rewards that you'll get, but it's definitely looking really good for the smoothing pool this month. Okay, so we've got a couple of things that happened in the DAO forum that are that I'd like to cover over here, and they kind of relate to retrospective awards. So Schifrin here said, due to the current 50% retrospective award cap in RPIP 18, the GMC faces difficulties in efficiently dispersing retroactive awards. This is RPIP 18 has the following line: the GMC may give retrospective awards for previously completed work. Such applications may be submitted on behalf of others rather than be self-nominated. In any given award period, no more than 50% of the awarded RPL shall go to retroactive awards. And he says, with over a year of backlog projects before the GMC, around 80% of submissions fall into the retrospective award category. During the second reward period, the retrospective awards counted for 75% of the total awards, further exacerbating the GMC's accounting challenges as they struggle to recover from the overwhelming volume of retrospective award submissions, which continue to outweigh grants and bounties. Here is the reward breakdown from round 2. And it shows that retroactive awards total was 102,000, grants 35,000, bounties 23,000, and grants awarded total was, grants awarded total was 11,000, bounties total was 24,500. So there's a big difference between the amounts here. And then Schifrin goes on to say, in order to fix this issue, the GMC is proposing either of these solutions. It says raise the cap 50% to 80% and allow a one-time payment to clear the backlog, or remove the cap entirely. This is, what do you believe is the best situation? So people, 62% of people have chosen remove the cap entirely. 23% of people says raise the cap to 80%, allow one-time payment to clear the backlog, and 15% of people say leave it the way it is. And there've been a total of 13 voters. Valdorf here was the first saying, my preference would either be don't count work from before the first GMC round towards a cap, redo some maths from the past to see where we're at. This preserves the forward focus originally intended, but likely clears the backlog or most of it. And he says, or remove the cap entirely. Setting the cap high enough that it does nothing doesn't make sense to me. And then Carl says, I'd probably favor just getting rid of the cap. There's been little evidence that the GMC as currently constituted is being wasteful with funds or denying grants bounties in favor of retroactive awards. We also have a challenge process if the PDAO thinks the GMC is overly favoring retroactive awards, and in the ultimate case could reinstitute the cap if needed. As of now, I don't think it is serving much purpose other than to make people wait a year or more to receive the grants they've earned. And then Val says he likes the idea of doing the math that Valdorf suggested. I said I like clearing the backlog and seeing where we stand in the next period. If rewards are still skewed towards retroactive grants, it might make the most sense to remove the cap entirely. And then Epinef says, I've voted to keep the structure unchanged, and giving information there about why they did that. And how the backlog will take care of itself. So I'm definitely leaning towards somehow removing the backlog. I know that I'm also a retroactive grant awardee, so I am one of those people that are waiting for my rewards to come through. So, you can take that information and paint my perspective however you want here. But I just think that there's a whole lot of people waiting for, to be paid for the work that they've done. And it's not nice to keep them waiting when we didn't think that the grants would work out like this, right? No one really had an idea. Also, another thing is that there is an element of the GMC pushing people towards applying for retroactive grants. I'll just give an example of one of these situations where we had a bunch of applications for dashboards, and we said that we'll just fund it retroactively because it's really, really difficult to get those going properly as a grant. And you can see the full value of them after the work is done, instead of like what they say the work might be. So that is definitely something to keep in mind on. If you have an opinion on this, please come into the DAO forum and share your ideas, because this is really important. Another vote that is going through the DAO forum at the moment is the ETH Denver volunteer amendment. So there was a retroactive award for which is number RA022312. So it was giving rewards to people who volunteered in Denver. So there was a certain amount that was requested for the rewards, and during the deliberations, the GMC decided that we would not give that up. We would not give that amount to ourselves, and instead, what should happen is that we should recuse ourselves from that moment, and then ask the community if they would like to give us the reward or not. So far 88% of people have voted yes, 11% of people have voted no, with 17 votes. Carl says that it's good that the GMC recused itself from receiving payment and improving the retroactive award. Having said that, I hope that this heat check poll will show strong community support for the GMC volunteers being able to claim their share of the retroactive award. We're already not paying members of the GMC. I don't think we need to directly cost them money for their service. I think this precedent, GMC recuses itself from benefiting but allows the community to express otherwise afterwards, is a good one. So yeah, that's a discussion that's taking place as well. So please pop in there if you have strong opinions one way or another, and let us know what you think about those two discussions that are still ongoing. And I guess they might go to a snapshot vote. I think that's the process. They'll go to a snapshot vote because it looks like there's a favor. The votes seem quite skewed, so expect that vote coming soon. Okay. So next we've got this really cool story that's from Patches, asking the question, what happens if my Rocket Pool node wallet is compromised? And Patches explains, well, because Rocket Pool uses a distinct withdrawal address, your staked funds are actually safe as long as the withdrawal address is safe, and that's really important. It says that, however, there are some challenges involved. So here Patches then has some information saying back in September, node operator with one mini pool in pre-launch came into the support channel on Discord and told us his node wallet had been compromised and he was being targeted by a sweeper bot. Pre-launch mini pools have a 2-week window to be staked before they are dissolved. The node operator needed to somehow get a transaction through to stake the mini pool, which could only be sent from the node wallet. However, sending them even small amounts of ETH for gas, the node wallet would inevitably end with the sweeper bot stealing it. So it says here, Kane stepped in, used Slashbots to bundle a transfer into the node wallet and stake transaction together, allowing the mini pool to launch before the deadline. The sweeper bot immediately stole the remaining balance, but the important transaction was already done. And then there's like a screenshot to Etherscan showing what happened there. It says, since this happened back in September 2022, the node operator had no recourse except to validate and wait for withdrawals to be enabled. Chappella went live a month ago, and so I set to work with the node operator to get the rest of his funds returned to him. First, we exited the validator. This is a beacon chain operation, so there is no associated gas cost. The validator entered the exit queue, which took about a week. After it exited, it became withdrawable in a few days and took another few days to be withdrawn. Once the balance had been withdrawn to the execution layer minipool contract, we had to use Flashbots to bundle a series of transactions to claim the rewards. As with the last time, the first transaction sent a sacrificial amount of ETH to the node wallet to use for gas, quite high at the time. The second transaction upgraded the minipool's delegate to the Atlas version, which supports the withdrawals. To keep things simple, we just use latest delegate to true on the mini pool. The third transaction claimed Merkle rewards, the RPL and smoothing pool for the 8 intervals since the node activated. It can be done by the withdrawal address, but since we're already doing a bundle, may as well. And some fun JS tricks to build the claim transaction from the rewards file here. And the fourth transaction called distribute on the mini pool contract. This can also be done by the withdrawal address, but the fifth transaction depends on this step already being done. So we had to include it in here. This step finalizes the mini pool. Finally, we can unstake the RPL bond for the node. The mini pool must be finalized before this is possible. If this step could have been done from the withdrawal address, we wouldn't need to use flashbots in the future. However, hopefully this is something Rocket Pool works into a future update. It is building these transactions together, executes them atomically before the sweeper bot has a chance to steal the funds used to pay for gas. The staked funds were never at risk, as they could only be sent to the node's withdrawal address. All of a sudden, we're done, and then that was the information there. So all the transactions were done, all within one block together, and that was really cool. So good job, Patches and Kane, for getting that together. That was really, really cool work. So thank you for that. Okay. So last week I talked about there being some issues with blocks being built on Nimbus with MEV boost. So Nimbus released a fix for that. So there's a version 23.5.0 that you can update to if you are running Nimbus. You can follow the guides and Rocket Pool docs to see how to update manually. I'm sure this fix will be in the next smart node stack release as well. But if you want to do that now, you can go and fix that. In relation to this, there was a tweet put out by the rescue node saying if you're a Nimbus user on the rescue node and you want to update your Nimbus version to 23.5.0, you will need to add :433 to the end of your CC API endpoint string in the override file first. The website has also been updated for users going forward. So yeah, if you want to update Nimbus, you are welcome to do that now. I haven't heard of any issues with the latest version of Nimbus. If I do, of course, I'll cover it on Rocket Fuel for you all to be aware of. Okay, next I want to talk about Blockscape a little bit. So I've been giving Blockscape some coverage over the last week or so, and Blockscape have been very happy about that. Like, they've been retweeting me, and also Pat, with the weekly orbit and collection, like kind of getting their quotes and stuff below. So pulling that out of the video and stuff. So they've definitely been paying attention to the coverage that we've been giving them. Here they had a tweet thread that came out. It says earn Rocket Pool mini pool staking rewards without running a node yourself. And then that this is the thread that we covered last time, right? So because I've been talking about it so much, and people have been talking about it a lot, I really think that it's worth taking a minute here to talk about some of the issues that could potentially arise with Blockscape. Now, as you all know, this is a centralized service, and that it's 100% custodial. So any ETH that you send them, they could technically be stolen. So please keep that in mind whenever you are interacting with any kind of custodial service. If the ETH underpinning the NFT is not there anymore, your NFT is not going to be worth anything. You please keep in mind that you could potentially be rugged by Blockscape. I'm not trying to say this as a way of criticizing Blockscape. They're very open with the fact that they're a centralized service, but I think it's prudent for you all to be aware that this is a possibility, that you could potentially have your ETH stolen, and that would be really bad. So whenever you're interacting with any kind of centralized service, please do your own research, please do your due diligence. Blockscape, of course, present themselves as a very reliable and very trustworthy service provider. They claim that they posit themselves as like a Lido node operator with thousands of ETH millions of ETH being staked. I think 7,000 validators, something like that, with Lido. So they definitely present themselves in a certain way. However, that's up to your risk profile if you want to interact with this service. So definitely keep that in mind. So yeah, you can they seem like they're doing a whole lot of promotional stuff at the moment, and it's exciting, the work that they're doing, and they're saying the right kind of things. But you have to remember that you will not be in control of your crypto. If you send them your ETH, you will have no way to get your ETH back. You'll have to trust them to give it back to you. So yeah, thank you for listening to that. Next, there was some community discussion about the ledger integration. We've already talked about that. So that was kind of known a little bit before the community call that, this was happening. Work was completed to facilitate ledger integration. So there was a lot of discussion happening about that and about what it was going to look like. They if you have a look at their GitHub, there's some information there about how you might even be able to set your withdrawal address and staking RPL from there as well. So it's not just a straightforward like here's the deposit pool, you can mint rETH. You'll actually be able to do more than just that. You'll be able to do pretty much everything you can do from the stake.rocketpool.net website through the Ledger Live app once that's all fully integrated. So that's going to be a really nice update. It's going to make things a lot easier for a whole bunch of people. Like for me personally, I interact with the stake.rocketpool.net website with my Ledger, so it will remove some steps in that whole process, which I'm very happy about. Okay, next we have my main man Marc Zeller here, who is, as always, talking up Rocket Pool and rETH. So he says synergies: get rETH, borrow ETH and RPL, deploy mini pool, get rETH, loop and repeat. So he says earn RPL, repay RPL debt. rETH goes up in value with staking yield, higher collateralization. So they're doing the temperature checks, for their RPL on Ethereum version 3, AAve Ethereum version 3, and also activate eMode for rETH on AAve Ethereum version 3 pool. So that's Marc Zeller there, getting all this work done. So it's really exciting that he's going forward with all this rETH stuff. So here, we talked about his short-term roadmap a few days ago. So here he's got a tick next to rETH eMode, RPL temperature check, and also a couple of other things as well. He's got ticks next to those as well. That is really awesome. So here Johnson says get rETH, borrow 8 ETH plus RPL, deploy mini pool, earn RPL rewards, repay RPL debt. And then Mark says your version is same as mine, but it doesn't loop, thus you miss out on a bunch of staking yield, but perfectly acceptable for people that don't want too complex strategies. So there are a couple of questions here about how a loop would work with deploying the mini pools, and I'm not sure where the problem is in understanding here, but it seems like people were telling Mark that you don't get rETH from depositing a mini pool, which of course you don't, and you would get some from arbing the deposit pool when there was a premium, but that's been gone for a little while now, and the people kind of wondering where that idea was coming from. And then here chur.eth as well was saying that you don't get rETH by deploying mini pools. And Mark was saying with the arbot you do, I simplified it for the tweet, but right now of course there's no premium. So 0x Chimera says I hate to break it to you, but there's no premium to arb, and Mark says premium is a nice bonus but not needed. What we want is to obtain rETH that we can be used as collateral. So it says also it takes 17 days to start staking due to queue. How long until people will start to lose patience and buy LSTs on secondary even with premium? So of course there's a whole lot of space in the deposit pool at the moment. That means that they don't need to buy on the secondary market. So this is an interesting question here. So Svante.eth says where is the RPL going to come from? And Mark says from AAve pool if governance vibes with onboarding the proposal I published. And then this is a really nice piece of information that came through here. Marceau says I'd personally seed the RPL pool with a decent chunk of RPL to enable this. There's pros and cons here. Taking an RPL loan isn't that capital efficient, but enabling node operators to go pure ETH / beta neutral on RPL would be a great experiment to run. So that is really awesome. So then 0x Chimera then asked about deposit rETH, borrow ETH, get our ETH, deposit, borrow more ETH, and then he says that will be covered by the rETH eMode. So there was some really good discussion here. I think there's some things that we need to get figured out on how it's all going to work. But even like you could do that once, right? Like you could deposit your rETH and get ETH and RPL back in return to spin up a mini pool, and then use the rewards from that mini pool to pay back your loan, and then you'll have the rETH as extra. So it's a nice way of potentially like doubling your earnings. But there's some really good ideas there from Marc, and I'm really happy to see that AAve are doing some Marc especially, of course, and AAve as a whole are working so well with Rocket Pool. It's really exciting to see. Okay, next we have that's Marc again. Next we have some info from Gravita saying unveiling Gravita and Rocket Pool. The rumors are true. We'll be supporting rETH as collateral type on Gravita at launch. It's a monumental step for our community and will add massive value to the Rocket Pool ecosystem. So why rETH? And then they give information of why rETH is awesome and why it's really useful to have. And he says supporting rETH is just the beginning. We're dedicated to expanding our collateral options and serving the needs of the entire ecosystem. Gravita protocol will be the go-to platform for borrowing against productive and yield-generating assets. So join us. There've been some teasing from people who work with Gravita on the Rocket Pool Discord about some of the things that they're trying to do. There've been some hints that they might work towards like an eMode style folding thing, and also they're running. I'm not sure, of course, this might not turn out to be anything, but there's also talk of potentially tokenizing your mini pools and being able to borrow against that. So that would be really cool too. So Gravita doing some awesome work. For those of you who didn't watch my Launchpad episode with rETH, who is the founder of Gravita, go check that out. It was a really great discussion and conversation, and like he really knows his stuff. So that was really great. Like definitely go and watch that. Okay, talking about things to watch, here we have the crypto news update from Coin Bureau. Coin Bureau is one of the biggest crypto YouTube channels with over 2.2 million subscribers. And on this week's update, they were talking about the top performing cryptos, and one of them that he mentioned was Rocket Pool, because we had a really good week last week. There were some issues with Guy's explanations of Rocket Pool, and I think he kind of like just hand waved a whole bunch of things away. But there was definitely some issues with his comments. So I was actually moved to write this reply on YouTube saying, if you zoom out on the Rocket Pool chart, you'll see that it's one of the strongest performing cryptos during the last year and a half. It has in the last few months hit all-time highs against ETH, BTC and USD. Not many other projects are hitting all-time high in the depths of a bear market, right? It definitely deserves a closer look. So I don't know if he's ever going to look at it more closely, but that would be really cool if Guy and Coin Bureau made a video about Rocket Pool, and hopefully getting some of the details right. But yeah. Okay. Covering mainnet DAO last week, we were going to talk about a couple of other things now. So last week, we talked about mainnet DAO joining the oDAO. So their vote finished here about should mainnet DAO pursue membership in Rocket Pool's oDAO. It was 144 votes in favor of it, 0 votes against it. So that was really nice to see. Discussions and conversations have already started in the EVM Discord about putting their best foot forward and really coming up with an awesome plan of why they should be in the oDAO, and kind of presenting that to the Rocket Pool team, the Rocket Pool community. I'm really hugely supporting the work that they're doing, and I think a lot of good stuff would come from this. So I'll keep an eye on that, definitely. Okay, another thing that's really interesting that's we've seen yesterday was Lido are giving info about their version 2, and it says the final on-chain vote for the version 2 upgrade is scheduled for this Friday, May 12th. If no last-minute findings are surfaced and the vote is successful, Lido version 2 will be live after the vote enactment on May 15th. So this version 2 of theirs will basically the main thing that we'll do is enable withdrawals. They give some more information here. It says it's been a long journey to get to this point and a few notable milestones have been made. So they have Goerli testnet, all 29 node operators were testing, audit teams tested it, off-chain tooling ready for operation. And then they said the vote will last 3 days, concluding on Monday the 15th. Following a successful vote, stakers can accept the following: direct in-protocol ST ETH withdrawals, staking router architecture, paving the way for new staking modules. And I think this new staking modules is what they're kind of like wanting to use as their decentralizing pathway. But I don't think we have full details on that yet. It says the Ether withdrawals vault is utilized to fulfill withdrawals requests as it is restaked when the queue is empty. Post upgrade, the 270,000 ETH in the vault will be available, enabling the fulfillment of initial withdrawal requests without a lengthy validator exit process. So there's potentially 270,000 ETH that is waiting to be withdrawn. I'm really hoping a nice big chunk of that will come to Rocket Pool. That would be amazing. So like I just showed you all a little while ago, we have 80,000 ETH worth of space in the deposit pool right now. Between Lido having withdrawals, and even if like 20,000 or 30,000 that comes to Rocket Pool, that would be amazing. And then on top of that, we would have the ledger integration that could come anytime soon, which might drive like slightly slower adoption of rETH deposits, but hopefully continual and sustained. And then the main thing that I'm looking at is eMode from AAve, which now that it is in the proposal process, I think might take a month if everything goes smoothly to getting it on mainnet, which would be absolutely amazing. So with all those things in mind, I don't think that queue of 80,000 is going to stay at 80,000 for long. And I would not be surprised if in 6 weeks' time that queue is empty. And I say empty, but I mean that it would get to a point where it should be empty, except if we have some whales who convert their mini pools to LEB8s, in which case we'll get a big amount of ETH that will be queued again, and then we would just need sustained interest from Ledger and Aave eMode and other services like eMode that will kind of eat away that queue quite quickly. It's really exciting. Okay, so then the Rocket Pool community here kind of talked about Lido's withdrawals coming, so you can definitely go and have a look at those comments and follow that discussion in trading. The episode is getting really long, so you guys can do that on your own. Okay, one of the things that I really wanted to mention to you all is about the risks of trading your any crypto, right? So trading crypto is one of the best ways of losing your crypto. Now let me explain what this means. So here in trading, we got this sell order. So there was a person here who had 541 RPL, and they were exchanging it for 8 billion or 9 billion Pepe tokens a couple of days ago. And people were kind of laughing at that and saying like, what on earth are you doing? So Pepe, for those of you who don't know, is like the big meme coin for the last few weeks that has like shown incredible, like shocking growth, and it's just been huge basically over the last few weeks. And it's like gas price have been through the roof because of Pepe and like all of this kind of stuff that's been happening. It's been really difficult to avoid it. So I don't know how many people, I'm not sure what it is at this point, but basically trading in and out of meme coins or any crypto really, buying with the intention to sell or sell with the intention of buying, it doesn't mean that it's going to work out the way that you want. So people started to follow here. Mig started to follow that wallet, and it said Mig says, I saw some Pepe swaps, and Hodja said they're traitors, and Mig said don't be harsh. So this person sold 543 RPL for Pepe. Then the Pepe price went down compared to RPL. So then they sold Pepe for 451 RPL, and then sold 451 RPL again to buy more Pepe, and then sold that Pepe for 421 RPL. So within a matter of, I think, a day, less than a day, they lost 122 RPL, which is pretty much like a quarter of their stack. or like 20% of their stack, and that was worth about $7,000 or $8,000 that they lost in one day. So please be careful trading. It can be really exciting. You can get caught up in like the FOMO of it all, but that's also a way to get burned really badly. So please be aware of that. Okay, next we hit this really nice milestone of 200,000 epochs in Ethereum since the beacon chain went live. Now we're on 200,280. We also hit 6.4 million slots as well. So there was like nice little milestone on the beacon chain. I don't know how many people are going to be interested in this information, but it's like nice nerdy information. So it's nice to hit milestones. I love milestones. So good job, beacon chain, for and I'm saying the Ethereum beacon chain, like hitting 200,000 epochs. So good stuff. Okay, and finally I'm going to finish with this with this really quick message to you all. Most of you already know, but for those of you who don't know, my wife and I are expecting our second child literally any day now. So rocket fuel might be intermittent as soon as the baby comes. I've been talking about this for months to you all, so hopefully everybody knows, but there might be the chance that I kind of go missing for a few days. I'll try to drop a message in trading and the rocket fuel tab in the thread to let you know that I might be gone for a few days. Please keep submitting links, because I know that people read the submissions thread to get the information, but I'll try to. Well, I don't know. The baby's due basically any second now. So if I go missing, I just thought I'd let you know what the reason for that was. But yeah, we're all really excited, and it's going to be a lot of fun to have the mini whack number 2 here. So that's good news to end on. But yeah, you might be missing out on some episodes. There's a whole bunch of other really exciting things that I'm working on as well, and it's just a matter of whether I can get them out before the baby comes. It might be that it gets pushed a few weeks, but I'm going to try to get the stuff done before baby comes. So I'll let you all know how that goes, and I guess you'll see it happening. But thank you for watching, listening, and being members of the Rocket Fuel community. I will hopefully see you all tomorrow. Bye.